The trees are about to show us how lovely it is to let things go. I just think this is the perfect quote for fall. I love summer, but honestly, like, fall has my heart. I love the cooler weather. I love the crisp feeling in the morning, the colors. It's just one of my favorite seasons. I wish it lasted longer in Utah, but it really goes by very quickly. So this month we're going to be doing a oval shape layout, and I'm going to show you how to break this down. We're going to use some simple fonts for most of the design, and then we're going to have the about to and lovely be our script, and then we're also going to talk about flourishes. So see how I added a little bit of a flourish to my T's up here? I also have flourishes within the leaves to show movement. I'm also going to teach you how to draw 4 different styles of leaves, and in your own design you can fill the chalkboard up with as many leaves as you want. On the iPad it's a lot easier because you can copy and paste, you know, what you drew 1 or 2 times, and I can kind of move it around just like on the computer. But when you're drawing on the real chalkboard, it's really up to you if you want to go through the process of drawing all of the leaves to fill the entire chalkboard, or if you want to just do one layer around it. So let's get started. The first leaf I'm going to teach you how to draw is the simplest, and it's probably the easiest. I'm just going to do the shapes of the leaves in our tutorial right now, and then when we do our final design, I'll talk more about the shading. So to sketch these out, I'm using my Bowen chalk mechanical pencil, which I've really enjoyed because I don't have to worry about sharpening chalk or my other chalk pencil that I normally use. Okay, and then I've got my VersaChalk chalkboard that I'm using. So this first leaf, I like to start with a line. So this gives you an idea of where the leaf is going to curve. If you want it straight, curve to the left, curve to the right. This is the stem part of the leaf, and then I come to the top and I bring it out and then bring it back in. And you're going to do the same thing the other side, just like that. And then you're going to add more veins on your leaf, just subtle, and less is more when it comes to this. You don't need to have too many, but that is leaf number 1. Leaf number 2 is very similar to this one, but we're going to do multiples of that same shape. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw your line, and I'll do it this time, I'll do it to the left. Okay, then you're going to come to the top and you're going to use the same shape where we came out and in, out and in. You're going to do that this way, and then you're going to actually do it all the way down the stem, as far down as you want. I like to have them like kind of offset a little bit, and you can either leave them blank like this, or you can kind of come back and you can add some small veins to give it some variety. But that is leaf number 2. The third leaf is really fun, and this one's pretty easy too. So first, again, you start with your line, and then this one, you're actually going to do your little veins first. And then from the bottom, you're going to kind of bring your leaf and go around, in, around, and you're going to kind of go just around those veins, and then back to the middle. The last leaf I'm going to show you is definitely one of my favorites, but it is a little bit more complicated. It's kind of like a maple type leaf, maple tree type leaf. So first, same, you start with a line, and then from this line, kind of come up a little bit, but you're going to have a line that comes out on both sides, and then you're going to have 2 more that come out like this. Okay, so when you're drawing this one, you're going to have your leaf come around each vein, but it kind of has little imperfections, and then it comes in and then comes out and does that again. And you just kind of, it's like sharp, kind of jagged, not perfect. But you want it to come in with every vein and then come back out, and it gives the shape of the different styles of leaves there. And then you can come back to these smaller sections and add more veins to this little section here. Okay, there you go. Those are our leaves. Before we can add flourishes to our lettering, I want you to practice these fun doodles and strokes. So one of the easiest ones is just to do loops. So you just go loop, loop, and then get in a pattern where one goes higher, one stays lower. These are fun to have as borders around your chalkboards, or they're fun to have in the corners to kind of frame your lettering. There's lots of different ones you can do. So this is the basic ones, and then we've got ones that go up, over, back up like this. So these are good to practice. Then when you get this mastered, you can go into ones that go like up, over, up, down, and then maybe back up, or just ending like that. Okay. Let's see. There's so many different versions of flourishes, and mainly it's just you getting comfortable with allowing the loops to overlap and move around each other. They're good at underlining words. If you wrote a word above it, they're kind of fun to have things like that, but they're also great for underneath. And then when you get better, they're great for cross strokes. So you can see that like a T could go here, and this flourish could be a cross stroke. Same with this fancy one. This could be a T, or these ones could be a Y, you know, little basic ones like that. There's lots you can do. So I'm going to give you a practice sheet so you can practice the flourishes. Learning where to put them is definitely the biggest challenge once you master them, and we'll talk more about that when we do our design. The supplies I'm going to be using to create this design this month, I'm going to be using my VersaChalk chalkboard. So this is a porcelain steel chalkboard. It's a little bit smaller than the ones that I have been using, so I'm kind of excited to try it out. Where this design is a little more detailed, sometimes it is nice to have a little bit of a smaller space to design. Sometimes it's not. It just kind of depends. We'll find out how this goes. I've got my chalk mechanical pencil. I've got a fine tip VersaChalk white chalk marker, and then I've got my sharpened anti-dust chalk here in my chalk holder. And just remember, what I do with my design, you please like find your own way and use what I'm teaching you. But if you want to add color to these leaves, by all means, please do. Fall is definitely one of those things that the colors of the leaves will be really pretty. I'm not going to do that today. I might add color to it later, but I'm going to use these supplies to start, and I want this like really fun, dramatic black and white design to pop off the chalkboard. But again, please feel free to use whatever you want to complete this. Whether you're just sketching on a piece of paper, you're using a chalkboard, you're using chalk marker. I love seeing your guys' stuff. So many of you participated last month, so I'm excited to see this one. So let's get started. That this is like an oval shape that the letters are on, so just ignore all of the leaves for now, because those are going to be the last part of the design. Right now we're going to focus on the shapes that we need for the lettering. So you can see there's this oval shape, and then there's an arch, there's a straight part here, a straight part here, straight part here, and then there's two more arches at the bottom. So if you do have something that's an oval shape that you can use that will fit on your chalkboard, by all means, go get it, throw it on there, and trace around it and get that shape down very easily. For me, I don't have anything in my house. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of take my chalk here, and I'm going to really lightly, because I want to leave enough room for my leaves and everything. I'm just going to kind of lightly get an idea of where my oval shape is going to be. Once you have your shape, your main shape down, then you're going to break it into even smaller shapes. So you can see here, there's an arch where we're putting the trees are. So I kind of just sketched an arch here. Now I'm working on such a small chalkboard, I'm just freehanding all these guidelines because I'll go back and perfect everything as I design. But if you're creating something on a larger chalkboard, you're going to want to use your ruler, or painter's tape works really nice to create straight guide areas for you to draw in with your chalk marker or your chalk. So I highly recommend using this on a bigger chalkboard or your ruler if you really want straight, perfect lines, okay? So then we left this space here is where about to will go. Show us how. Lovely. And this will be it is to let things go. Now this is just a guide. I don't have to stay right in this section. I can kind of go outside of it. It's just a rough idea of where I want everything to go, and it makes sure that you know that you're not going to run out of space. So go ahead and get your layout out, or get your layout on your chalkboard, and then the next step is to start filling it in. So I started filling in my layout shapes. I am just using my normal handwriting print uppercase letters to fill in these arches and this little shape here. And now we're going to put in our script lettering that we've already practiced. So you can see here there's this big space up here, and I'm going to show you why it was important for us to leave that space there. So as we start writing about, we've got our basic shapes that we've already practiced. So look at that. Our A sender comes up and it has plenty of room. Same with the T. And then the next T will fit right there. So nice and perfect. Okay. So this space is perfect for where we're going to add some flourishes. Now that this one is so large, this one can be kind of more subtle. Okay. So you can see how that fills in this space really nice with that beautiful flourish that we just practiced. So down here with lovely, same thing, we have space here and here. So let's start with our L. And you can fill this space down here by going down a little bit further if you want. And now we have all of this space to kind of play with and make a little flourish over here as well. Okay, so there's our layout sketched out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back with my chalk marker and I'm going to finalize all the lettering with the chalk marker, and then I can erase the guidelines, and then we can start adding all of our leaves around our lettering. So I went over all of my lettering with my VersaChalk fine tip marker, so you can see that it's got this really nice rounded bullet edge that I was able to trace everything. And so once everything's dry, you want to make sure that the chalk marker is dry first. You can come back with your eraser and erase all those guidelines, and then look how pretty that is. Like, it's so, it still amazes me when you get rid of the guidelines how the lettering just looks so nice in that little nice shape. So now you can go back and you can add some more detail. I'm working on such a small chalkboard that I'm probably going to leave too much detail out because I'm going to add more of the leaves. But if you wanted to come back, you could, if you have room, you could thicken some of the downstrokes to give some variety. I might thicken a little bit of the lovely because I do have some space there. Or you can come back with your chalk pencil and you can add some shadow lines, just like I did in my original design on the iPad. If you erase and you see some things that you might want to tweak or change, you can get a Q-tip wet to erase the chalk marker, or I like to use just a regular eraser. You can come in and you can kind of clean up some of these lines by erasing. And it will leave a little dark mark, but then you can just take your eraser and fill the chalk back in. So watch this. So you go like that, it will look like that. And then you just come back with some chalk and it erases that space there. So now that the guidelines are gone, you can come back with your chalk marker and kind of clean up some of your lettering. Sometimes your ends of your letters will kind of look sloppy if you're writing it too fast. So I like to come back, and on some chalkboards, the marker adding a second layer really helps make it stand out a little bit more and give it more of an opaque look so it doesn't look so see-through. So you can see how that kind of makes the lettering pop a little bit. So go over your letters and just finalize them. Add some thickness to the downstrokes if you have room. And then you can come back and add shadow lines. I'm probably going to add some thickness to the word lovely. So remember, this is up, down, so you add the thickness, up, down, down. This comes across, this is down, so we'll add some thick here. This goes up, this goes down. I just don't have a lot of room to thicken that one. This one goes down as well. This one is down. This is up, and this is down. Okay. Next, we're going to start our leaves. I almost forgot, in my original design, Show Us had little caps on the ends of all of the strokes. So I thought I would show you that. I will attach the alphabet that we have for that. But basically at the end of each of these strokes, you're kind of just adding a little line. If there's room, because you can see it's kind of tight in here with such a small chalkboard that I'm working with. You kind of just add a little detail to the end of each stroke that has a point. And that just adds a little more character to the lettering. Gives it kind of more of a formal, masculine style. But that variety kind of makes it stand out more than just our basic lettering that we did. So if you want to add that detail and you have room, go for that. And now we're gonna sketch in our leaves. To put in our leaves in the other design, it's kind of random, and you kind of just rotate between the 4 leaves that I taught you. So sometimes what I like to do is come through here and be like, all right, I know I want a leaf here going that direction, so I probably want another leaf here going this direction. And you want to kind of change the direction the leaves are going. So I kind of go around my design first and kind of add these lines, because remember, each leaf started with one basic line, and this allows you to kind of see where you want your leaves to kind of start before you go back and start adding like all this detail. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now that I kind of have a line, I'm going to start up here first, and maybe let's start with our basic leaf. Then here, let's do the next one. Watch. Like that. And then our next one, remember, we do our lines first because it moves around those lines. Okay, and the maple one is the biggest and the hardest one, so let's go ahead and add it here. So we go out this way, and then in, and then back around, and in. Ending at a point makes it look really nice. Okay. All right, so go ahead and do that all the way around your design. I usually start with one layer like this, and then I'll come back and fill in these other spaces. So now I'm going to come back with my chalk, because the chalk actually looks really pretty when you smear it with the flourish look. So like when you add, the flourish just has to be a line that's curved, and if you add 2 together and then you kind of smear it with either your finger or a piece of chalk, it kind of looks like wind or dust in the air. You can get a little more fancy by curling them a little bit more, having another one curled next to it. Okay, just kind of fill in some of the gaps where the leaves are kind of moving or flowing. And then you can come back and kind of smear those a little bit if you want to, or you can leave them the way you want. I kind of like that dusty look. To me, it looks a little more natural than having just the lines. But you can also do a combo of both. So see how you can do the dust here, and then maybe I'll add a flourish within the dust, okay? Just to kind of give it that texture of the dust. Looks like the wind is blowing all the leaves around. And then I'm also will use my normal chalk to come in and add some of the shading to our leaves. So that will be our last step. let's do one more right up here. Kind of fill that space. So like I said, if you want the lines to be more defined with the flourishes, because you can go in here and do more curved, loopy lines for the flourishes, but you can see how nice those look and how it makes the leaves look like they're moving. So I went back with my chalk and I just added a tiny bit of dust along the edges of some of the leaves just to kind of give highlights. I'm not covering the whole thing, and then I'm coming back with my Q-tip. So you can see this down here looks really harsh, but if I kind of just dab the edges and kind of pull the dust into the darker spots, then it makes that edge not as harsh, and it makes it look more natural, and the blending and the highlights look really, really pretty. Again, that just gives more dimension to your leaves and makes them look more realistic rather than just two-dimensional and flat. It creates that dimension for you. So you can see how nice that looks. So if you're adding color, you could do the same thing. You could add your color with your leaves and then come back with a little bit of highlight to kind of add that dimension if you want. But oh my gosh, this is so cute. I love how this turned out, you guys. So cute. So there is September's design. I hope it was lots of fun for you. Check out SheSheDesign.com for supplies, free downloads, and more resources for your chalk art and lettering. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and like this video. Thanks, guys.